tell me who you are and tell me about Little Angel Service Dogs.
Sure. So we're Little Angel Service Dogs. We're a non-profit company based out of San Diego, California. We work with a group of trainers, volunteers, prisons and inmates, and foster families to help provide service dogs to adults and children across the entire country.
Tell me about how do you train a dog to look for seizures and be alert for seizures?
Sure. So first we want to look at the temperament of the dog. We want dogs actually that are slightly anxious. We don't want too much anxiety because they need to perform well in public, but we want dogs that have just a little edge of anxiety because it means they're very keen on their handler. They are always watching what their handler is doing and noticing any sudden changes, which is really important for them to start picking up on the seizures. And so once we find dogs with that temperament, we start pushing them towards the seizure field and training them in the tasks that are relevant. So that includes obviously alerting to seizures. It includes bracing to help stand up and sit down. It can be retrieval. It can be dialing an assistance phone to get help, and an assortment of other tasks.
Okay.
So primarily we use scent. That's the short of the long of it. And a dog that is kind of anxious will notice slight scent changes in their person too, as well as behavioral. But our dogs, what is about the 19-year-old? 100%.
So
I just told you
we have several recipients that have had dogs that are alerting to 100% of their seizures. They're not missing one, and they're giving anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes of a heads up that a seizure is coming, so that these individuals can start gaining independence and get out into the world to lead a normal life like they desire. And so what it really comes down to for us is we pair up with the individual's medical care providers, their doctors, and if they're having seizures, we look at their EEGs. And with the EEG, we're hoping to see some type of precursor activity that leads up to the seizure breaking through. And if there's that precursor activity happening inside the brain, then more often than not, we find that the individuals are giving off a pheromone scent that none of us can smell, but the dogs can pick up on.
Okay.
So after a seizure happens, we use gauze in the inside of the mouth and the palms of the hands, lock it in an airtight container, and use that scent on the gauze to start pairing the dog's action of alerting someone with the scent of the seizure.
You also do train the dogs in other comorbidities as well. So not just seizures, but I notice autism and hearing and other things as well. Tell me about how you train the dogs for those.
So we start all of our dogs on a baseline almost, and then we kind of, if you consider puppyhood maybe high school, and we'll see once they're in college what they're good at. So if someone's really good at retrieving and they're also very attentive, we might put them for someone with a mobility problem. So we make these kind of hybrid dogs, whereas one organization might just do hearing dogs or guide dogs. We do seizure alert, autism, mobility, hearing, psychiatric, like we run the gamut. So if someone has autism and seizures, we can do like this hybrid dog for them. But we start at a baseline and we just build. So, an advanced task didn't just one day start, go dial a phone. It began with retrieval. It began with touching their nose to our hand. So it's baby steps, kind of just like anything. Like you don't just go to medical school, you start off primary school. Do you like that? Primary school? And then you go to university, but you build on it. So, and these dogs are we use them for their breeding. One's biting the table and the other's staring at it. Don't look at that. But we use these dogs because of their breeding, and they're we're trying to breed a better dog to do the work.
Tell me about, as a person with epilepsy and also autism, how would I apply for a dog?
So we have a website, littleangelsservicedogs.org, and on the website there's a tab clearly labeled Apply for a Service Dog. You would fill out an application with us and submit it. The application process can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months, in which we review your application, we get personal recommendations, and we talk with your primary care provider. They fill out a portion of the application and send it in to us, and that really lets us study exactly what's going on with your seizures and make sure that a service dog is going to be a good fit for you. At that point, if you are accepted into the program, we get you onto a fundraising list where we are helping you fundraise the total amount that we need to provide you with a service dog. So we require that our recipients fundraise $9,500, $9,500, and our total fundraising cost is $38,000. And so we work together with the recipients to find ways to commonly raise that through events and like GoFundMe's and other.
Yep.
Judy's really good at
Social
fundraising.
media stuff,
Yeah.
and, contributions from corporate events and matching. And since we're a nonprofit, all the donations are tax deductible, which is super awesome. People like that.
So once you get that $38,000 raised in conjunction with us, you get put onto a placement list. Once you're on the placement list, that's when we're officially starting to look for which dog will be yours.
And that's when we might work with your scent sample and the dog that we're thinking about pairing you with. We'd start working with that dog. So by the time you get to our ranch to do the training, that dog's like, I know you.
Tell me about the types of the breeds of dogs. What do you work with?
So we breed English cream golden retrievers like this pretty girl, and we also breed English Labradors. We find that their combined intelligence and overall temperament works best for a service dog. Labradors and Retrievers are very smart, but they want to work to please you rather than work to just complete a task, like a lot of military and police dogs. They often use Malinois and German Shepherds. They're very work-driven. These guys are very sensitive to what you're feeling and what you need and are happy to help you with that. So we breed them. We also rescue dogs as often as possible from the local shelters. We often get grants from companies like PetSmart and Petco to help us with rescues. And then we have some other reputable breeders that we go to for poodles and chocolate labs. We do some small breed dogs. We do Bichon Frisés and Coton de Tuileries. We sometimes have recipients that need very small dogs that can just sit on their lap.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me finally about when a person goes into a shop with a service dog. Tell me about the laws and legislations. Do shop owners notice the dogs? Do they let the dogs in? Can you tell me, give me an example of things which have positive or things that have gone wrong?
So I've been using a service dog for the past 6 years, and I travel all over the U.S. doing stand-up. So I was just in New York City, and it was like nobody batted an eye. But then when you get to like the out lane towns and such, people always assume I'm blind, or they assume I'm just training the dog. A lot of people in the medical fields too don't understand the laws. Federal law says a service dog can accompany their person, because it's not the dog's right, it's the disabled person's right. They can accompany that person wherever that person is allowed to go, except places like a burn unit in a hospital and certain places in the zoo where it might be a prey predator kind of a thing. We don't want anybody getting eaten by a lion. So it's very important, we like to educate our recipients on their rights. So we have usually an ADA card with Americans with Disability Act says that we have certain rights and we can go places.
Yeah.
So if you sometimes just explain to the shop owner, sometimes that works, but other times you say, look, you could get shut down if you don't let me in. You never want it to escalate there, but I find like a review on Yelp is very helpful.
Okay.
And some shop owners just don't understand. So it's up, I think, to the individual with the dog to educate. And then a lot of small towns that we send dogs to, that small town like knows that that dog is coming and they're all ready for that dog. So it just depends. It's very, like I said, we think education is key, and the more you know, the less frustrating it can be.
So finally, where can viewers go to online to find out more information and get involved and apply for a dog?
So littleangelsservicedogs.org is our personal website. That is where you can find everything out about our company. Otherwise, you should look up Assistance Dogs International, ADI.org. They are an extremely reputable organization, and they can lead you to other good service dog organizations.
And that's internationally as
That
well?
is an international service dog nonprofit. They don't produce dogs themselves, but they direct you to organizations that will produce legitimate
They'll
service
set
dogs.
the standards that other organizations can abide by, so we're on the same page.
That's great. So, last of all, tell me about your experience of Epilepsy Awareness Day. Why are you here? Why is it important to be here and take part in the expo and the day in the park and an event like this?
Sure. We have, in my experience, we have loved this. It's such an awesome event. They do such a good job putting this on. And for us, it's just about education. A lot of people don't understand the benefits of seizure alert service dogs. I personally got into this field because my brother needed a medical alert service dog. And you just, until you really hear about and see the dogs in person, can experience the work that they do, it's not something that a lot of people actually understand. So we feel that it's very important to educate and give this opportunity to families that can really help provide a sense of independence to these individuals with epilepsy.
And it's not just for the person with epilepsy, it's the whole family, like Josh was saying. So parents who always sleep on their kids' floor, or they're always there, these dogs can give them a couple hours sleep at night by alerting the parents if something's wrong at night. And just seeing that relief on their face, like, wait, what? They can do that, is just so cool. And then just seeing some of the kids that are they're in wheelchairs and they're not there, but then when they pet the dog, they come alive, and they're certainly alive the whole time. But this, like, grabbing this is like just brings a certain like spark to them, which the parents say, wow, like, he hasn't done that in a long time. And it's just this kind of connection, which is so cool. And there's so many benefits that dogs have for us that I think we haven't even scratched the surface. And in about 10, 20 years, we'll look back and be like, oh my gosh, we didn't do that yet. But so I think, it's just seeing that connection between someone who we don't maybe think is there, but they're there, and they come out when they see this dog. It's just awesome.
Sure. So thank you for talking to us and explaining about the benefits of service dogs to people with epilepsy and other conditions.
Absolutely, of course. Thank you for talking with us.
No worries.